I've come from nothing from when I was younger. I enjoy business. It's something I'd love doing. Lord Sugar before in the past has done it. At 20 years old, you can't just go to a bank and say, can I have 100 grand to set up a company? South Wales. I always relate it to Connects or Lego. When I was younger, I used to build things up out of nothing, and it's the exact same thing I do with business now. This is just the start for me, and I aim to go further, harder, and I aim to exceed all expectations. I have a forward-thinking attitude. In work, I'm a no-nonsense, frank individual. I don't like bullshit. I like you to come in, that's where we are, and let's get it done. You may look at me and see a well-chiseled, good-looking individual, but believe it or not, the secret of my past is that I used to be part of a death metal band. My game plan to win The Apprentice is I keep it straight and simple. If someone has done something to upset me or to falter a challenge, I will highlight it. I'm not an aggressive...
We are here with the most successful apprentice contestant ever, and he didn't even win.
Yeah.
Crazy. Alex, how's it going, brother?
Yeah, doing good, man. Doing good. You all right?
Yeah, good, man. Good, man. So it's interesting. Glad to have you on the show. Thanks a lot for coming down and making the drive from Wales in the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, yeah. No, in my big old bloody boat. Yeah.
What is it, a Cullinan or?
Yeah, Cullinan. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
It's outside if you like it. I mean, it's just like I went for the whole Ed Sheeran spec. So literally, it's like black with just full on orange interior.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I love that. I love that combo actually. Yeah, sick combo.
But I got Alex on Instagram. He's a psycho because he would chuck all of his bin bags like after a big party or whatever, just turn the thing into a proper runaround car. And we were also down by this pub, weren't we, in Cardiff? And you drove it. You nearly put it in the river.
Oh yeah, Christ.
For a photo.
Yeah, it was. Where were we at? It was some car supercar meetup, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And they wanted the shot of like, I think, oh, it'd be cool if we had this car like coming up the river. I was like, yeah, just chuck the Cullinan in it. And
yeah, man, it was worth it. You got a sick shot.
There was an edge though. There was like apparently there was an edge, so literally about another foot backwards, and we would have had a floating car.
Yeah, I'll put a photo up. Shiz.
What's the insurance for anyway?
Well, I get insurance. Do you know what? The insurance on my car is not that bad. I've just renewed now. It's £2,000 a year.
And that's not bad at all, really.
Yeah.
And do you take care of that then? Do your own insurance?
No,
with your own...
no, right. So for everyone who's watching this, doesn't know, I have an insurance company. It's a fintech business. I'll talk about it in a bit, but mostly we sell insurance. And no, I never buy insurance from myself or anyone I know.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, because basically, right, with insurance, there's a lot of stipulations of sometimes why things might not be covered or might not be covered to the extent that they are. And it's easier to argue with someone who isn't your friend.
Right,
like
okay.
If your mate gives you a deal, and then you think, oh yeah, wicked. And then all of a sudden, let's say, for example, your car gets broken into and stolen.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to argue with that friend and be like, mate, I've just lost out on all this because you didn't do me right. So it's better to have that impartial relationship. You can shout to someone then who you don't know.
We said that in the previous episode. When you get mates rates, you lose your consumer rights.
Yeah, you do.
You know,
yeah.
Don't make me give you a discount and then come complaining after.
Yeah, and I kind of like to compartmentalize like friends and business as separate things. I think that it's not like to say you can't be friends with people in business, but I just think that when business complications happen, and they always happen, you just are going to get that sort of that difficult chat. Funny enough, I'm in the middle of doing one at the moment now, and it's just like you're like, oh, come on, stop being a dick.
Insurance just love not paying out as well, so it's like a worst place to be friends with someone.
Yeah, it is.
Any excuse not to pay out.
When I went into insurance, because like I'm not from a financial services background. I mean, we'll talk about it in a bit, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't from the insurance world, but literally, like the basis that insurance when I first started is like, I think it's still most of the thing. It's like, oh, well, yeah, give me your money and I'll give you a million reasons why you can't have it back. And
yeah,
I'm trying to change that now in the industry. So
yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
But that's how it works. How would insurance work if they're not taking more than they pay out? You know, it's just that sort of business. Really, it's like a casino. Yeah. Literally a big casino.
Yeah. Do you know how insurance actually started?
No, tell me. So, yeah, tell us.
Right, okay. Weird little thing in this, but actually I think it was Royal Sun and Alliance Company. But what they used to do is that when you used to pay for your home insurance premiums, they send you a brick in the post. You'd have to put a brick in the front of your house.
Right.
And what it was is that the fire department was actually paid for by insurance companies.
Right.
And what they do is that, like, if they had a call in London, like, oh, our house is on fire, fire engine would drive over there, they check if the brick was on the wall, that means they're insured, they put the fire out. If it turned up and you didn't have a brick on your house, you'd be like, nah, let it burn down.
And when was that they were doing that?
Oh, yeah, back in the 1800s or whatever, that's when they used to do it.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. So you'd pay for private insurance, and the private insurance would make your like contribution towards the fire.
Yeah, that's how insurance started.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I love facts like that. Yeah. And on a side note, this tastes like absolute crap. How about yours?
I've swapped mine. I did have Prime, went for water. I don't know.
It's horrible. £2 a bottle. People were paying like 10 quid for this before, but yeah.
It might be because I'm not 10 years old and don't need to live off E-numbers, but you never know.
Yeah, that's something to do with it, definitely. And I don't watch Logan Paul, so I've got no like influence on. Oh, this tastes great because Logan Paul drinks it.
How did you get started out in your business, Alex?
Well,
Actually, let's go back. Let's go to Apprentice. So
I go before Apprentice if you want.
all right, yeah, let's go from all the way how you got to Apprentice.
First hustle. We love a first hustle.
So my first hustle was, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Alex Mills, and I'm an entrepreneur. Now,
And what's your Instagram? Did you plug that?
yeah, Sir Alex Mills.
Give us your credentials too. Was it Forbes?
No, Sunday Times Rich List. Sunday Times Rich List. Most successful, what's it called, buddy? Apprentice candidate, future Welsh billionaire. Like, I got a load of things I need to do, but I don't know. I don't parade that. I just trying to get on with it. Like,
Yeah.
What I quite like is that I have very high aspirations in life and what I want to go and do, but what I don't do is I don't let them define me. I mean, it's nice to do things and then get recognised for success, but I don't sort of run out there and volunteer myself for every award that's going and stuff like that. But, my sort of story is basically from South Wales, normal kid, normal town. But I used to be really big into music. So when I was younger, used to be part of loads of bands and never had much money when I was growing up. Always needed to find a way to make money. And I used to find it like doing gigs and stuff like that. So when I was about 14, 15, used to organise like gigs down the leisure centre. And never did it as a business. It was just a strategy like, okay, I need money. How do you get money? I know, ask some bands, like 100 quid to hire a venue, 100 kids in, quid each, sell it for like 3 quid, 4 quid, pay the bands.
Yeah.
It was just pretty easy. And then left school because I just couldn't stick school. Then
Did you leave school before you were meant to finish?
No, I left when I was 16. So
Right,
I
left
did
16.
You got some GCSEs then?
Yeah, I got some GCSEs, and then I went to...
How do you do in GCSEs?
All right, I suppose. I mean, nothing amazing. Like your DCs.
So you weren't getting like A's now?
No, Christ no, fucking no rather than me. And yeah, so then I basically then went to go be a housekeeper in a hotel and was doing college on the side. I really like graphic design. Went to go work for a graphic design firm back in 2008 when I was about 18, and a thing called the recession happened. So what happened is a lot of this firm I was working for was doing loads of these small websites for people, small businesses. They went pop, and then I got a job then at a company that we'd done a website for, which is a slate design company.
So you said you were 18 then?
I was 18, yeah.
And how old are you now?
So I'm 32. I'm going to be 33 on Friday. So it's
Ah,
my
nice.
birthday. So
Yeah, 2008, it was very hard for anyone to get any job. Because I remember I was in college then, and I couldn't get a job.
yeah.
So I went to uni, I'm not getting a job out here.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, it was a weird time. But yeah, what happened is from that is that I went to go work for a company that we did a website for, and they were shit, and then they went bust. But the entrepreneur on that was an arse. I'll talk about it in a bit if you guys want. But it was then I actually set my first company. So what happened is I was 19.
Yeah.
This company just gone bust, and I thought, oh, hang on, they're just selling slate signs on the internet. And I knew how to do the website because I'd done that in my old job for this company. And then I knew how to make the signs because I'd learned how to do it. So I was like, fuck it, let's start that. And basically from a kitchen, with a laptop and stuff like that, started the company. Was doing that for a couple of years. My business partner at the time, nice guy, but he was just totally different, aspect of life. I was 21 at the time, it had been going for a while, and he was a bit older than me and had kids, and he liked his he liked his X5 and his holidays a year, and I kind of want to do something more.
Yeah.
So then I thought, I need to go into something which everyone buys every year, because the problem with a slate house sign or a headstone is once you buy it, they're dead, so they're not going to come back and get much repeat business.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go into insurance and literally applied for Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den said no. Applied to the Apprentice. The Apprentice said yes. And
So
then,
your plan was to take a business proposition to Dragon's Den?
yeah. So I was trying to set up my own insurance company. Needed some money to back it. This was about 2000. Oh god, when was this? 2000. Yeah, it was 2011, 2012. So you still had the sort of bit of uneasy economic times.
Yeah.
20 years old, you can't just go to a bank and say, "Can I have 100 grand to set up a company?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think outside the box. So I just.
That's cool. So when you went to the Apprentice, you were going to try and get a job or for the investment for the business?
Trying to get an investment. So I think it was the third series whereby you actually got a investment, and I was trying to go for £250,000 investment from Lord Sugar for a 50-50 business partnership. The plan of it was originally that I wanted to set up an insurance company that basically sold insurance products to small, medium enterprise businesses, whereby if you had a problem with staff, you can make a claim on it and they pay for your legal fees to deal with it, or if you had a property dispute with your landlord. And that's why I thought he'd be a perfect business partner for it, for all these budding entrepreneurs, get sales in, but it didn't quite work out.
What was the whole process of like? Oh, actually, go back to Dragon's Den quickly. Did you get onto like the application, or did you get no response?
No. I literally sent them everything, and it was like, okay, this is what we're gonna go do, and I just got back saying thanks, but no thanks.
Probably didn't sound cool enough on TV.
Yeah, I didn't have a product or anything.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to sit there in front of them.
How do you even go around setting up an insurance company? Is it like a subsidiary of a bigger company, or?
No, it's pretty easy. It's pretty basic business. You buy something for £1 and sell it for £2. There are insurers out there who sell effectively insurance risk, which is net premiums. But what they don't want to do is they don't want to do anything whereby they deal with the customers. They don't want to have to change the addresses, speak to the customers, do that. And that's what your insurance broker was. So an insurance broker is someone who deals with all the paperwork and legwork effectively for these big insurance companies, and that's effectively what I was going to go with.
Yeah. Oh, sick.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's the premise of it.
And we'll get proper into the business as well. And but if you keep telling us how it went with Apprentice and what was the process? Because I actually got knocked back from the Apprentice. I went on and I went to stage 1, and they were like, we all got given numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's it. They
go, right, number, they ask you, I remember that. It's twice. So yeah, I read about how to get on it, and it was what you did is you applied.
Yeah.
And I think they had like 30,000 applicants, they went down to 4,500. And then what they would do is then they had like 1,500 interviews in Birmingham, 1,500 in London, 1,500 in Scotland. But then the first stage of it was that they literally put 10 of you in a room, piece of paper on the floor, 1 to 10, line up, and then these producers then sit there and go, okay, so we're going to ask you in 30 seconds why you think you'd be a good business partner for Alan Sugar, some sort of question like that. And they go, number 7. And then 7 stand forward, or 1, like, random order. And at the end then they just turn around and go, okay, so 7, 7, 8, 1, 4, you can stay, everyone else go home.
And what did you say? What did you say?
What was your answer?
Do you know what it was, right? I remember, one thing I do remember is that I really, really, really needed this. I remember I was like, shit, I really need this investment. I really need this to work out. And I did so much research online that there was one candidate years ago who'd done an interview, I think it was a Jewish guy, like J Times or something like that.
Yeah.
And he explained the process, and he said, they ask you this question, which is something like, why do you think you would work well with Alan Sugar? And I was like literally on the way up to London. I was literally just sitting there writing it down and practicing it in my head. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this. And then they asked a completely different question.
What question did they ask?
I think they asked something like, why do you think that you and your business is a good partnership for Alan Sugar?
And did you have a quick answer?
They went number 7, and I was first.
And what do you say then?
Shit, I can't remember. I think I just did on the fly. I think I just did something though that I think Lord Sugar needs someone with experience. I've been running my own company since I was 19 years old, and I can't remember what it was. I think he needs someone with new vision, bold ideas. I've already done it myself, but I need someone to help me take it to the next level. I don't know if I exposed some vulnerability.
Yeah. Oh, sick.
But as well, back then I had like a real thick Welsh accent and stuff like that as well, and I looked like Count Dracula. So I mean,
yeah, maybe they just wanted some variety for the show.
Yeah. I think they said to me, they go, step forward. Why would you? I was in 2006. I was applying, I think, or 2007, and I was like, I think it was the time where it's still a job. So why would you be a good person for Alan Sugar? And I was working at Dreams at the time. I was like, because I was the best salesman at Dreams last month. And that's finished at that stage. I had to leave the building. Yeah, it's funny, but so what happened after that? So you've gone through to stage 1. You got to the next room. So I don't know what the next room's at.
So basically, the next room then is so the whole point of this process, so they're trying to whittle down to 1,500 people down to like, I think 100.
Right.
And so what they do then is about 10 different stages. I think it's maybe a bit less. I'll rattle them off as I remember them, and then we can get a counter on the screen or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Nice.
Basically, I think step 1 is that whole 10 of you line up. They pick 4 go through. The next one, then you sit down, and then there's a room of about 30 little tables.
Yeah.
You sitting over basically across from a producer.
Yeah.
And then the producer will ask you questions and takes notes. And then I think if they like you as a person, you get the second pass, which is then you go downstairs. When you go downstairs, then you have to go and have a one-on-one meeting over a table with a business professional and another producer. And I think the business professional is just the guy asking, in my case it was a guy, could be a girl, but was asking questions like, what's your company, what are you doing, what have you done before, what's your profit, what's your EBITDA, I think just like dropping in these little questions to make sure that actually you know something about business.
Yeah.
And then once that worked, I then had to go to another location, and they did like a TV. They just record you on a camera, but actually that's the bit whereby they have the whole behind the scenes footage of the candidates.
Yeah.
That's the footage that they use.
Nice. So all from the early application stages.
Recruitment stage, yeah.
Cool.
What happens is once you if you're successful with that, so they kind of get it down to 100. Then what they do then is they invite you back for another task, and this is effectively you put in a room 2 teams of 15. You've got to build an IKEA table, and there's cameras running around you, and then afterwards then you've got to ask why was it good, why was it bad, and stuff like that. And then when that happens afterwards, then you if you're successful with that, you then got to come back for a psych analysis. Because one of the
Did you pass with flying colours?
Some colours.
Some of your stories, I wouldn't be so sure.
But no, seriously, right? It is the whole psych analysis, because they came to speak to me, because you basically sit there, you sit in the room with a sort of psychiatrist or whatever.
Yeah.
And they talk to you about the impact of this program, what it's going to do. But the crazy thing is, and it's only kind of realised it now, is that, so back when I was on TV 10 years ago, this was before we had like Netflix and I think iPlayer just started out, but we definitely didn't have smart TVs. And it was the world whereby everyone used to come home on like, oh, it's Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we've all got to be home around the TV for The Apprentice or whatever. And it was a massive show.
Yeah.
And there was 10 million viewers in the UK. And they said to me in the psychoanalysis thing, they were like, that means that wherever you go, 1 in 6 people is going to recognise you. And I was
That's crazy.
I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Because I was thinking there's 60 million people in the UK, 10 million viewers, 1 in 6 people is going to recognise you. And then I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then basically I had the call then that said, we really want you to be a candidate, come on board, basically. And just
sick.
Turned upside down.
Nice.
Was it a mad time on the show?
It was crazy. It was a weird time for me because, so I'd had my slate business and I decided I wanted to move away from it. So I basically done this thing with my business partner at the time whereby, you take over it, pay me some money a month, and that did or didn't happen. But, I really made a conscious decision in my life that I wanted to get away from that and wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
So when I went on the program, I actually had no job. So I went on it. We did filming. The filming of the program is about 10 weeks. And the way that they sort of film it is basically that each task is 3 days. So like, day 1 is the whole 5 a.m. phone call, go meet Sugar at Tower Bridge. And he goes, what, you're going to fucking this, so you do that. And then, like, your day 1, I'm going to say, is like designing the product. And then your sort of day 2 then is you go up to wherever, location, market stand, NEC, wherever, and you start selling that item. And then day 3 then is the boardroom. And then they film the boardroom scenes and, you're hired, you're fired.
Yeah.
And then the afternoon of the day 3 is when you go on the treat. And then you have a day off.
Yeah.
You get back on the filming as well. So it's kind of like 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off.
And it goes like that for the entirety of the show?
Yeah, it goes like that for the entirety of the show.
And you're locked away kind of, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah.
No phones?
No phones. So when you run on the program, there's no phones, no internet. It's a bit like Big Brother, but literally it's like no phones, no internet. You're in the house. You've got no newspapers, no money. You can't leave the house.
Really?
No, yeah, seriously.
Is it because it's like a big
Sounds
show?
like
Do you
jail.
feel claustrophobic or is it okay?
No, it's all right. But like, it's a bit weird. Like, but you can't even go to the toilet in public unless there's a producer with you.
Are you serious?
Seriously.
And what happens if you suddenly just thought, fuck this, I want out?
I don't know.
Have to throw a tantrum.
You couldn't get out. You contracted, like, tied in.
You are, but I think that, like, to be honest, there's a thing called like slavery, and I don't think.
Alan Sugar is just going to catch a human slavery charge.
Exactly. So I think there is a way out. If
Yeah.
you wanted to. But no, I didn't want to go out of it.
No, I didn't know if it was like, I didn't know if it's super intense. Like, the idea of not having a phone seems a lot, but then the
10
upside
weeks.
is huge, isn't it?
10 weeks. Did you communicate with your family in that time or not?
Yeah, you do. So what you do is you do get an opportunity whereby you can communicate with 2 people who are your family members, and what you do then is you can get like a half an hour phone call a week. But to be honest, like, I remember I was chatting with my mum and dad. I didn't have a girlfriend or anything at the time, but I was like, look, I might get in touch with you, I might not, type of thing.
Yeah.
Because I worked myself since I was like so young. I'd never been to uni or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I thought, holiday.
You owed it.
Yeah, but what I tried to do, right, and this is the weirdest thing that got me, I tried to give my time
Yeah.
to other people who was on the program with my kids. Because I used to be like, look, I don't need my 30 minutes. Give it to Miles or Neil or something like that. Someone who's got kids so they can go and speak to their kids. And the producer's like, no.
That's
funny.
funny.
We're on this podcast.
Yeah, do whatever you want to do.
Talk, keep it real.
Yeah, okay.
So that's mad, yeah, because there's no clocks in there either, is there, in the house? I read that the other day, I think. Just the oven clock, someone said.
I don't, do you know, I can't remember specifically if there was or wasn't, but I know that with filming, you were literally just, you know, it is literally the phone rings and you've got 20 minutes to get out of that call.
Yeah.
And, you know, what was weird is like so many of the women used to sleep in their makeup. Because we
Not surprised.
Because we sort of knew the whole, like, oh, well, it's going to be, you know, we know if we had a day off, we'll probably film in the next day.
Yeah.
Most of the girls used to, like, the night before, wash their hair, do everything, straighten it, like, put it in a bun and go to bed because they thought they were getting up first thing in the morning. And yeah, sometimes they were right, sometimes they were wrong.
Does Alan Sugar ever turn up the house?
No.
No.
You don't see it. Like, that's the big, that was the biggest thing for me, which really annoyed me about the whole process.
You didn't see him?
No. I honestly, right, so to give you some context about this, so when I was on the program, I didn't have a job, as I said, and when you go onto the program, they will basically give you a compensation payment. I think it's a 1,500 quid for the entirety of the filming. That's it. So they give you 750 quid before and 750 quid when the filming finishes.
Really starting to sound like slavery.
Yeah, I think they get around it because they pay your accommodation, because they're paying you food and paying you this, and it's the opportunity.
Yeah.
But what happened is after the program, I didn't have a job, but I needed money. So I used to go work nights as a security guard in a hotel called the Copthorne Hotel, which is in Cardiff, if anyone knows it. And yeah, I used to work nights there because I was too afraid of like a paparazzi member taking a photo of me, and then this whole like news story being like, oh, look at this guy trying to be an entrepreneur, really just a security guard. Because I didn't want to start my company because they dangle the carrot out in front of you that Lord Sugar before in the past has done it whereby the program's gone out, because bearing in mind the program filmed, when we did it was filming like September to November, and then it was on TV April to July. I think it's the other way around now. They film April to July and it's up towards Christmas. But, you know, when you leave, you're thinking, oh, he might actually, because if the public like you, I think he did it with Susan Marr before, he will actually just say, oh, I know I fired them, but I want to go back into business with them. So I was like, I do not want to get into bed with anyone. I don't want to start a company. I want to keep myself as clean, break-free as possible because I want Lord Sugar to call me up and say he wants to do a business with me.
And do you feel like you were positioned well for that? Did you feel like you'd come off well? Like,
yeah. I shouldn't have been sacked.
No?
No. Like, I'll come on to when it was on TV in a minute, but yeah, so then all that time then I was working as a security guard in a hotel at night, and I was just like, yeah, it was just, you know, you needed money, you know. I can't turn to someone and just
fair play though.
I tell you what, it's a sick story because of how it turned out, but like it's a sad story for you at the time, isn't it? Like that's actually quite heartbreaking that you didn't want to take a job, you didn't want to show your face, but it's so vitriolic that you're now sat in a Rolls Royce and you're the richest and the most successful apprentice so far, and
a lot of people wouldn't do that either, you know. They would be like, I've been an apprentice, I only want this job, I only want that job, you know.
I don't know. There's nothing more that I can say than quite simply, you cut your garment to your cloth. If you don't have the money, you go out there and work it. Park your ego, get a job.
Yeah.
It just works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
You know, with anything.
Good advice.
You know,
good advice.
You can't sit there and just be like, oh, well, I think I'm worth this. You worth fucking jack shit, mate. You put in whatever, you know, you get out whatever you put in. That's how it works. And yeah, so for me, this one thing I've gone to Lord Sugar about is that, like, so I've done that. I sacrificed a lot. I, you know, was working, doing this, and I'd done anything for the program I could do. I was in like Heat magazine and doing all this sort of stuff, and you know, it's for free, but you're doing whatever you can to try and help them out because you want to be helped out back.
Yeah.
But I remember I met him at the final, and I went up to him and said, like, oh, look, Lord Sugar, it's nice to meet you, because when you see him, you only ever see him as other side the boardroom table. So
right.
he'd like come in, you sit there, you know, tell them off, tell you off, and then you're gone. But you wouldn't pop around afterwards and go, "Call you fatty arsehole."
Yeah.
He kept himself away.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when I went over to him after the program, and I was like at the final, and it just all been done. I said to him, "Oh, look, you know, really nice to meet you finally. What did you think? Any words of advice?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going over here now." I thought, you fucking arsehole.
Oh, he just left you straight away?
Yeah, and I honestly, I thought, you fucking arsehole. Like, I have done nothing wrong. I've done everything I can to try and help you in what you're doing with your program and stuff like that. And you can't even give me 5 minutes of your time. I think that's when I just thought, right, fuck this, I'm going to beat all of them. And let's
use the hate for fuel.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. Look, I kind of, look, at the end of the day, like, you only, you know, to talk seriousness about it, like, you only remember it as you remember it. And what I mean by that is, I don't know, he could genuinely have had something really pressing he had to go do and stuff like that. But, you know, for me, I remember at the time thinking, like, I feel really annoyed about that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, it is annoying because you were there for a lot of weeks and you didn't spend 5 minutes with... How many contestants are there in The Apprentice?
So there's 16 when you go onto it, and I got down to, I think I was the 6th one to go, and then they had the interviews, and then I came back then for the final because they brought like 2 people back, and you have to join the other person's team to do that. So I mean, I got loads of screen time.
So I think that each person of it's only 16 people should have had some decent time, you know, like 5 minutes.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, because this is going to happen. Right, he's probably got 2 series left. I'm going to go on. I'm going to replace him. And then what I want to do is, every time you sack someone, I want to just go out and take them for a meal and just sit there and just go, look, yeah, you know, just have a chat with someone, because these are people who, you know, you get paid a decent wage for doing it. You get all the perks of loads of fans that you can tweet and advertise your product to for free, which like so many people couldn't do. And all it takes is just a bit of human nature to sit down with someone who sacrificed so much to help you.
Yeah.
Go for a meal and just say, listen, tell me what your ideas. Oh, listen, I think that's good. Hey, tell you what, you want to go to Sainsbury's? I know the CEO of Sainsbury's. I'll drop them a message, see what you can do, and just.
Yeah, because if things didn't work out well for you, you could have left and it could have destroyed your confidence. Yeah. You're lucky that you have what you have. Some people might not have that.
No, I know. No, I know that, but I think that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. To more to the point. Like, yeah, you should take people out for dinner to give them that bit.
Yeah, you should.
When you first said about the boardroom thing, I thought he probably doesn't want to talk to people and get pally with them because he's quite savage in the boardroom. You know what I mean? Like, he wants to be rude to you. He wants to tell you to do one. So if he has a nice conversation 5 minutes before and then says, "Get out of here, Alex, you're shit," he'd feel bad doing it. So maybe he doesn't want to build that connection. I
get that. But once you finish filming, once you finish filming, you ain't going to see him at the side of the boardroom table. Civility costs nothing.
Yeah,
like,
true.
If you in a working environment sack someone, or, you know, had to let go of someone, or a business relationship had to go bad, you know, if you bumped into them in the street, you wouldn't be majorly offensive unless obviously they were offensive back to you and the whole situation. But I just think civility costs nothing.
Yeah,
you know,
100%, bro.
My nan used to tell me.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I imagine what happened with The Apprentice, the first few seasons, it was genuinely for a job. Like, he thought, I get a business partner, start a business, I invest, I give my resources, my network, all that sort of stuff. And then after you've done like 20 seasons, he's probably sick of people. It's like a teacher having a class. And the first time the class breaks up, she'll be emotional. After that, it's a yearly thing. They get used to it. Yeah. And the program probably isn't even oriented towards giving someone a job. It's more just, I'm getting paid more from the BBC than I am actually starting a business with this person.
I can't really, I don't know what the fee is. Don't quote me on this. Don't sue me for it. I don't know if it's right. Full disclaimer, I don't know if this is right. But I was led to believe that it's about $500,000.
Okay, so he makes $500,000 a pop now for that 10 weeks.
I don't know that. I was led to believe, and I might be right, might be wrong, impartiality, blah, blah.
Yeah. I know him and Trump used to have this argument over who had more, didn't they? And who was getting paid more. And Trump used to... It was Trump's show.
You can't beat America, surely.
It was originally... So basically, I don't know if it was originally Trump's show, but I remember the... Because the weirdest thing is, I didn't know this about TV, but people own shows. So, like, in TV, the way it works is that you, as a production company, come up with an idea of a show, say, I don't know, we'll say like The Apprentice, for example. And then what happens is then they get a... broadcaster to back the program so it gets its like sort of, you know, fame and stuff like that, and then they sell the idea to other broadcasters around the world,
right?
And that's kind of how it works. So I think this idea originated in America, and obviously with Trump behind it, I don't know if Trump had like some sort of investment into it to help them pay for the production costs of it, you know, as long as he was on it, type of thing. But yeah, I mean, TV's a weird world for me. I'm glad I'm not. Big glad I'm not part of it.
Yeah, fair enough. So you came out, and you've been rejected for The Apprentice, and you're working a security job at a hotel in Cardiff.
Yes.
And what happened next?
So I got loads of TV offers, and then my dad had a massive stroke. So I got loads of TV offers to go and do things like Big Brother and stuff like this, and my family were trying to push me to be like, oh, you could be famous now, because I just got so well liked on the programme.
Yeah.
And then my dad had a massive stroke, basically. And then I had to go be a carer for my dad. And, well, I say care, look, you know, my dad was very, very unwell and just had to go back to the family and look after them and stuff like that. And then when I was doing that, I basically applied for jobs, and then I got a job. I didn't quite get a job. What I did is it's a bit of a weird one. Basically, because I wanted to do insurance and I knew someone in insurance in Cardiff, I went into this place in Penarth, a company called Source Insurance, and I said to them that, look, I can make an insurance company out of one computer. And
yeah.
they were like, no, you can't. I was like, yeah, I can. They're like, no, you can't. I was like, yeah, I can. Because I just looked at it and just thought, it's maths. It's maths for anyone who does web-based, I don't know, any web design or anything like that. Insurance is basically math with a contact form. It's you answer questions. Those questions have values linked to them. It's a big long math sum. There's money at the end of it. They press that, and then all you do then is you send them documents and you just keep records of it. And that's what an insurance company was. And I was like, I can build that on a computer. So I did. I built one. I built an insurance. I built a product that sold bicycle insurance on a computer. And I turned to them and said, there you go. And I think they were quite impressed by it. And they were like, I think there was kudos from being on TV, there's kudos of this, and so I started working in there.
So you got a job, and it was like a high job then, was it? So it was like your first like break?
It was basically, so the way the company was, the way this company was set up is that they had their own business, they had this sort of like little incubator business on the side.
Yeah.
So I kind of went in there. So I got to work with a lot of people, but I was never part of like the big firm where everyone else had a job. I was sort of in the bonkers idea shop on the side of the company. And I went there, I worked there, I learned everything I knew about insurance. And I said to them that basically that what happened is, to give you an idea of this company was a software provider for business to business. And they wanted to go direct to consumer. So how it worked is that if you were a mortgage advisor, for example, and if you've got someone who was buying a house, the mortgage advisor could say, oh, I'm going to tap in your details here. Oh, here's a home insurance quote for you. Do you want it? Effectively, like a comparison site for mortgage brokers.
Well, like Go Compare, but for mortgage brokers.
For mortgage brokers. So when you've got your mortgage, your mortgage broker can say, oh, and by the way, I've done your home insurance. It's £400. You have to have it in place before you move in. Do you want to add this to your bill?
Right.
And people will be like, yeah, fine. So that's kind of how it works. And then they wanted to go direct to consumer. So I said, oh, that's fine. I can make made a website, which preliminary made an insurance policy, and said, there you go, you can advertise that direct to consumer. I'd done it before because my old business I used to do like Google AdWords, so I was like, yeah, we'll just put it online marketing. Someone clicks, fills out the information, boom, they pay the money, documents go out, they're on cover.
Yeah.
Sorted. And then what happened is that they wanted to do it, and then all of a sudden they didn't want to do it because I think one of the other directors had a concern that if they as a business had like 3,000 brokers who were giving them all this business.
Yeah.
And they were worried that if they were going to be seen going direct to consumer, that then all these other 3,000 brokers that use the platform might be like, oh, we're not going to use these company because they're trying to cut us out. So what they did then is maybe redundant. So they just said, right, you're gone, off you go. And I was sent packing then and went home.
Crazy. And and I guess this is where it gets born, your business, is it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So what happened is that basically I got packing, got sent home, went to my house in Barry Island, and I spoke to a guy who I knew had an insurance company and sold out, a guy called Steve Jenkins. He's my business partner now. And what happened is with that is Steve was a bit older than me, but I said, look, I really think I can do this. And he said, okay, I'll invest in you. I'll back you. Like, how much do you need? I was like, I don't know, about 15 grand. So I thought that's going to pay my, I think I was trying to budget myself to like 1,500 quid a month to pay for my mortgage and bills. And then I can't remember what the other. I don't know if I was trying to give myself $5,000 worth of like costs in order to.
Bit of breathing room as well.
Breathing room meetings and stuff like that. So then basically sat there at my computer and made a website where people could buy insurance products from. I made break down a home emergency, and then I put them on the comparison sites, and then that was it. That was the business launch basically. And I started from my kitchen, like my kitchen in Barry Island with my laptop, because I built. Basically, what I'd been able to do when I hadn't realised it is I was able to compete with all the big providers on the tech flexibility in what I built, but was able to do it a lot quicker and basically started the company like that.
Nice. And how long was it until you realised you wanted something special? How long until you realised you'd be driving the cars you've been driving? And
do you know what it was? I'm gonna say it was about 3 or 4 months until I thought this thing's gonna take off now, because basically when I first started the company, I was like, if I could just make £1,500, that covers my bills. What was I trying to make? Like 50 quid a day, something like that. So I was like, oh, okay, if I put like £10 in margin in products, I'm just going to sell 5 products, and that should be easy to do. And I was like fucking selling 100 in a day.
And that went on your own?
Yeah. Literally.
So you're making £1,000 a day on your own?
Yeah, literally. And it
Sick.
was
sick.
But what it was is that but what I hadn't realised is that then all of a sudden you've got your customers, and you've got to facilitate these customers, because some of these customers might have set it up wrong. They might have done this wrong, done that wrong. And so what happened is then I all of a sudden needed a call center. So what I did is I remember my first phone call, took my first phone, because I just set up this computer and this computer was just going ping, 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 people taking money. I was like, sweet, job done. There we go, walk away. Happy, I'm going to go to the shop. But then I realized people wanted to call me. I was like, fuck, I've got to do this shit. So then I had to like divert to my mobile phone.
Yeah.
And I remember I picked up the first phone call. I was like, oh, hello, Dynamo. How can I help? They were like, oh, I've done this wrong on website XYZ. And then they said, oh, you sound like a one-man band. Should I really be interested? I was like, oh, sorry, we got like cancelling rooms or whatever. It's for privacy.
Yeah.
I'll give some feedback up. Thank you very much. But always very civil and happy with people. I thought, shit, I sound bad. So then what I used to do is I used to have a video on my laptop, which was 2 hours of Office sound effects.
Did you really?
So every time my phone rang and I knew it was a customer, press play and it would have all the like keyboard clacking sound effects and printer. Hello, Dano, how can I help? Yeah, no worries, we can set that policy up for you. Just so you know, we're authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. And literally bootstrap the company from that's it. From that was it, 15 grand investment, that's it.
Amazing. And what's the website of your company now?
So the company is dynamocover.com. We sell multiple different variety of insurance products. But what we are as a business is very simply this. I've developed an insurance tech platform, which means that you can buy and administer all of your products on your own, on yourself. You don't need to call anyone. So move house, don't need to call anyone. Move register. And it's a mad that you think that sounds so simple.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist in the insurance world. The insurance world is so far behind. And what I'm trying to do now is push so much technology forward into the sector to give like amazing customer service. And the whole thing with us is better product, better service, better price. We sold nearly 1 million policies in the last 6 years.
Wow, fair play, brother.
It's just absolutely fueled by the passion that we have for this thing. I know we do work and live a nice life. You can't make a big company without those trappings, but the whole focus of it is better product, better service, better price. You won't get a better star rated product and a better service and a better price than you will with us. And that is all about technology. It's all about technology in the sector, which actually comes with its own problems, because I think one of the worst problems is that we're trying to put forward this massive technical platform whereby people can buy, administer, renew, cancel, renew, auto renew, change payment details, whatever they do all online. But so many customers are used to just calling people. And it's a mad how you try it. Someone just goes, oh, well, I just want to call someone. You're like, nah, like you're why do you want to call someone? Because when you call someone nowadays in a business, they farm it off to another, to other countries where they don't get the best service, and and it just isn't. Just put it all in smart technology. And people.
You know what? I'm guilty of that though. Sometimes when I'm so frustrated with the problem I have, I just want to speak to someone and rant to them rather than being told computer says no, can't work this out, or not supported, or unsupported request.
What happens when you order something from Amazon and it's wrong?
It's annoying. Well, you talk to chat.
Yeah.
But sometimes when they can't answer you, or you've got a robot, or you've got a guy in a foreign country whose English is not first language, and you're frustrated, you want to speak to someone and explain the real problem. Obviously, Amazon's a straightforward one. Did you get your package? Did you not?
Yeah.
But with insurance, like last year, actually, I had a problem where they couldn't put the claim for on the system. So for 8 weeks, I had no courtesy car, nothing. They were just like, we can't find your policy. We can't find your policy.
Oh, let me tell you what we're going to do to change that. So the whole thing which I'm trying to do is this, right? At the moment now, when you lose your phone or something goes wrong, it's going to go to a claims handler. Claims handler's going to say yes, no, whatever. I am literally going to do it whereby, like your Apple Wallet, you just download the card's there with money on it, go to a shop and buy it.
Yeah.
Go to a shop, buy it, there you go, sorted. Don't need to speak to you.
Yeah, okay.
Sick, man.
Big ideas, but it's going to take us it's going to take a lot of hard work and a long time to get there.
When do you see that getting to, do you have a plan or time where you want to get there by?
So I'm now actually venturing into the world of getting investment into the company. The company itself has been an organic grown business. So apart from Steve's 15 grand that he originally put into the company, we've done some, there was COVID loans or stuff like that. We've done some things like that to try and take a part of capital to invest into the company.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem I realised with the company is that it's organic growth, which means that we've got to make the money before we can invest the money. And what I'm trying to do now is work with VCs, investment firms, and you see this happening in a lot of other industries. Like you hear about these companies doing fundraisers, like say Uber. Uber does a fundraise, and they're able to then deploy the talent to get that. That's what I need to do now to really supercharge the growth of my company, because what I'm trying to do is, instead of waiting 10 years to make the money to invest into it, why don't I sell a bit of the company now? We all work together as better partners, gain more experience into the company, and then help push it on its growth trajectory. Because I can only do so much, and my business partner and my staff can only do so much. You know, sometimes you need outward experience to come in. Do you know what I mean?
And how far along that journey are you?
So at the moment now, we're currently looking at doing what's called a Series A. But I tell you what, man, this world is crazy. This investment world.
Is it?
Well, the problem is, right?
What is a Series A first?
So the way investments work is like this. If you're looking to start a company, there's one thing you can do, which is called raising capital. So effectively, there are different funds that you can access, or you sell different parts of your company at different series. And what that does is then that gives you capital on, basically gives you money in your bank account to go and spend to make stuff, right? And you can do, I think there's like a seeders fund or a pre-seed fund.
Yeah, so you normally get the pre-seed round, and you get the seed round, you get Series A, Series B, Series C.
Yeah, so it goes basically pre-seed, Series C, Series A, Series B.
So it's all just stages along the development of the business and the project.
And the later the stage, the more you pay for your share, obviously. Yeah. So the seed round will make like a 10x before they even hit Series A, and then by the time you release it public, it's
Yeah, so the whole
big money.
So the whole thing is that, like, a seed fund, or you might be looking for, like, say, £500,000, and you might be like, hey, I've got this great idea for something. It's going to take me £500,000 worth of R&D, but I think I'm going to sell £1 million worth of sales. Can I have £500,000, and then you own 50% of the company? And then what happens is then, so let's say you've built that product, you're then selling it. All of a sudden, then you need machinery to go and, like, make more of the product in-house and get better margins than you would making it abroad. I don't know. Then you may think, oh, I need £1 million for the machinery. So then at a Series A, you would then say, I want £1 million, but for 10%, because all of a sudden the business's value has gone from, say, £1 million to now 10 million, because it's based on the sales.
Right.
And then once you've got that machinery in and you're selling loads more, your Series B, then you might be like, oh, I need 3 million to set up 3 different locations. And then the value's then bigger. It grows and grows and grows.
That's really, really interesting.
But there are pitfalls with that, because if you get it wrong, it gets wrong in a big way. Anyone remember a company called Purple Bricks?
No. Did they sell houses? Yeah, online. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, what happened to them?
Yeah, what happened to them? I don't know.
It was all online, wasn't it? As an estate agent, but online.
So Purple Bricks was an online estate agency company, and it was the whole, like, flat fee. You pay £700, take the photos yourself, and put your property online and stuff like that. But this company, for example, and you do get this with a lot of these companies, whereby they sort of fuel this headline growth, which is on a bit ego-y, but effectively they fuel this headline growth on selling. So Purple Bricks went up from 0 to 1.4 billion. It just got sold for £1.
Wow, that's
so you've got
crazy,
people there who,
man.
for example, let's say at a Series D, they're like, okay, here's 20 million of pension money from, like, say, the bloody police pension pot or whatever. Here's 20 million for you to invest in to grow this company. And they hope they're going to get, say, 25, 30 million back. Now they're going to get back 100 grand.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But that is the way this world works.
Yeah, I was about to say about VCs love pumping up the valuation, like, oh, this is a 10x, 100x, and then boom.
I know a lot of American companies, they'll actually value the company on the turnover. Like, they do that in some UK companies, but mainly US. Like, they'll do a valuation of a company based on the revenue and not even think about the profit.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Honestly, it's crazy. Like, going into this world now, so for us, we need access to good capital to grow the business, and it's a bit different, because whereas when you're trying to grow a technology business, you have to get money on the potential of the staff that come in and do it. Whereas, like, if I owned a haulage company, for example, and it's like, I got 1 lorry and I make £100,000 a year. If I have 10 lorries, I'll make £1 million. But I need someone to loan me the money for those lorries. They're like, oh, okay, because there's an asset there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like here's £1 million for 10 lorries. If you go bust, we'll just take the lorries back, and they'll get 700 grand for it, so they don't lose all their money.
Yeah.
Technology is entirely different. Technology is all about value of data, of consumers potential, etc. But I tell you what, I did not realise the talent I had to understand numbers like I do.
Really?
Seriously, school I was terrible, but I love maths.
So what happened? What was the, like, time you woke up and realised, like, crap, I'm good at math. I'm real good at maths here.
I remember, well, actually, when I was in school, they were going to put me in a special needs class because, well, that's funny, is it?
It's funny because me and James have talked about it, because I've seen kids who've been put in special needs class or told they has some sort of syndrome, and then they act into it because they never acted that way before. And as soon as they get put in this class, they're naughty all the time because they got an excuse like, I've got special needs. Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't quite like that. What it was for me was that basically, like,
there's no way you needed to be in special needs.
What it was is on all, like, the school reports, they kept getting this. My mum and dad kept getting the whole, like, thing with Alex has concentration problems. Alex has concentration
Me too.
problems.
I had the same thing.
What to do? Well,
Easily distracted and distracts everyone around him.
yeah, well, with me,
What mine was.
yeah, I think I was the quiet weirdo in the corner. So actually, no. What happened is that my parents got like on my report card. I'm American now, but you know, like you used to get your school report.
Yeah.
They used to say that Alex had, concentration difficulties, etc. And then they had to bring in someone to do a test on me. I think like an IQ test. And then they went back. They said, no, this kid's bright as fuck. He's just not interested. And I think, like, for me, maths, like, do you know what I mean? Like, Pythagoras' theorem or algebra.
Oh yeah, I'm not any good at that. I'm actually seriously good at mental maths as well. And
Yeah.
the same thing, I got put in terrible classes. I didn't even take French because they said I was dumb. But I got a theory on it, and I think that I can't apply myself to anything I'm not like really interested in. But if I'm interested, I work like a dog. And I honestly think there's no one smarter than me. Like when I at the stuff I want to do that I do well, when I'm doing it really well, I don't think anyone can match me on it. And I think that when I don't enjoy it, I'm so disinterested, I can't learn. Like you could teach me over and over how this theory works, but if I don't like it, you have no chance.
Do you know the one thing that got me in maths? The one thing that actually made sense to me was ratios. When they used to do ratios of increase, and so 1 to 3, 2 is 6, what's 3? And you're like, I don't know. But if someone said to you, right, buy something for 10 quid, sell it for 30.
Yeah.
Then you've got now buy it for 20, what are you going to get back? 60. Now you've got 30 quid, what are you going to get back? 90. It makes sense when it's real.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem, I think, with education, is trying to get people to grasp and actually quantify what's going on. I remember I said to someone actually very recently, they were talking about books, and I was like, the second book that I actually finished cover to cover after The Hungry Caterpillar was Duncan Bannatyne's autobiography. I tell you what, I didn't give a shit about a wizard, like Wizard on Hogwarts or anything like that. But but it was just because it wasn't because I couldn't read. It's just because what I was reading didn't interest me.
Yeah.
I think that's a.
I think we're all the same. Like all of us who've got like ADHD, we're all the same. Like if we're not interested, we don't want to learn it.
And ADHD is a power because like you've got unlimited energy you can just put towards something, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Every person who's an entrepreneur is like has ADHD, in my opinion. Anyway, everyone I meet.
Have you seen this? There's all these companies now that are diagnosing you with ADHD, so you can get Xanax or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
What's it called? The concentration drug that you get. Something beginning with R.
Ritalin.
Ritalin. Yeah.
Is that like the one from Inception?
Yeah, like that.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
It's not Inception. What's the one with Bradley Cooper?
Limitless.
Limitless. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, basically, I think that, Shiz is right. We all have those, like, a semi-degree of that limitless peel. If we're, like, the kind of characters who can just work non-stop, like, never stops, always driven, it's not really about the stuff that we buy, but it's about the things that we do, and the stuff that we buy just comes with the things that we do. I think that, like, I notice the same. Like, me, Shiz, we've got the same thing, that can't concentrate on the stuff we don't want, but we concentrate way better and apply ourselves better than the people.
Yeah.
Because we always want to do too much. Like, we don't want to do anything boring, we want to do too much. And like you said, the real-life application of maths, like, when you're learning maths, you're like, why am I learning pi? Like, when am I going to use this? You know what I mean? So when you do it in real life, like, minusing, adding, times, and, like, in sales, that's easy. But doing pi, I can't remember how you even do it, you know?
Yeah, it's just got to be quantifiable. It's got to be, if you're doing measurements for carpentry, for example, it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It makes sense, though. Like, trigonometry, that's, like, a difficult one. Like, when am I going to measure the height of a building from, like, far away?
Yeah.
I'm not, am I?
No,
So why am I learning it?
Yeah, I ain't going to do that. I trust you that that's a good skill to learn.
Talk us through as well. We're getting towards the end of the podcast, but talk us through your car as well, because you've had some cars, haven't you? Some sick cars.
Yeah.
Where did it start? What was your first car? And talk us through.
Okay, like my first ever?
Very first. You passed your test.
My very first car.
And how many times do you take the test?
I took my test once.
Nice.
I always, like, for me, love cars. Always have loved cars. Like, got petrol in my veins.
You've always been a petrol head then, yeah?
Oh yeah, 100%. Not like a max power petrol. Like going to Halfords.
Yeah.
I just like cars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Like my first car was a Mini, one, but I took the one badge off and put a Cooper badge on it. Because
Nice.
It's the same engine, but Cooper sounded cooler than one, and one was cheaper to insure.
Sick.
So I had that car, and then after that, I got a Citroen DS3. And I had about 3 of them in total. Because not at the same time. What happened is that I had a white one when they first came out. That was my first. That was my first taste of finance.
Yeah.
Like, we used to be able to go in, and they were like, "You can buy a car, £200 a month." And you're like, "What?" like I thought I got this money. Like, no, you keep that money. You just give us £200 a month. You can have this car. I was like, this is sweet. So I got a Citroen DS3, a white one, and then I got a yellow one. And my yellow one, so Dynamo's first product, we used to sell bicycle insurance, and I had it all branded up as like a big yellow basically like cycling accident recovery vehicle. It actually looked like Thunderbird 4. And I made sure that it looked like Thunderbird 4 with its yellow and had like a red stripe at the front. But I had those, and then the first cool car I had was a 7 Series. Because I always wanted a Rolls Royce. I've loved Rolls Royce since I was a kid. Funny enough, I'd done a slate sign order in my old company for Rolls Royce, and they sent it back because it wasn't good enough. But they invited me to go to the factory, and they showed like the level of perfection they have and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm just hooked. I want these things in my life.
So you got sold on a Rolls Royce way before you had any money because you went to the Rolls Royce factory selling them product.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
I sold them a sign, and then like I think there was something wrong with it, like the paint was wrong on it or something like that. And they were like, no, this isn't good enough. Come to our factory, we'll show you what's good enough.
Oh, sick.
Sick story.
Got like, and the best experience ever. And I was like, yeah, I'm sold on this. So I wanted a 7 Series because it was a Rolls Royce Ghost. It was the same platform. And I was like, this will be my practice Ghost. So it cost me like 14 grand, I think it was. And it was just the coolest thing ever.
Did it have like a phone in the back and all that kind of stuff?
No, it didn't have a phone in the back, but it did have like all the like surround view cameras and stuff like that. Because 7 Series, it's quite funny.
For 14 grand?
14 grand.
Yeah, they got serious spec.
Hell of a lot of car for the money, innit?
Yeah, I sold. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a 10 plate. It was a 10 plate Partex. The guy who owned it before had it for 75 grand new. Partexed it into Porsche Cardiff for 14 grand.
Wow,
And
that's mad.
And a mate there who worked there and said, "I got one of these. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes."
That's a hell of a lot of car for money, isn't it?
Oh, it was ridiculous. Like 70,000 miles, full BMW service history. It's the one I do regret getting rid of that.
Seriously comfy ride as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was just cool.
Even the seats.
Which one's that one that has the screen that comes out, the big boy now?
Oh, that's
i7 now, the new one, yeah.
version of 7 Series.
That looks
But you always
badass.
find with 7 Series and S classes going head to head, they're always the first ones to bring up the tech. And because BMW owns Rolls Royce, tech that you see in a 7 Series is usually what eventually goes to Rolls Royce once they've basically road tested it with 7 Series. So after that, then I got an R8. Like, that was cool. I bought it on my 27th birthday. So I'd started Dynamo, launched Dynamo in April, June 30th. So, six years ago now. Yeah, I bought my R8.
Sick.
Nice.
And I bought,
Was that a mad feeling?
It's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool. I just didn't believe it was like, fuck. And it was like, I've been dreaming this shit for years. I can actually do it now.
Yeah, man.
Like,
It's good. It's good.
For years, and I was like, oh my god, like I'd love to have that. I'd love to have that. I'd love to have that. And then I could actually do it. I was like, yes.
You really have to savor those moments because you can't get them back, can you?
No.
The first time you ever buy a nice car, the first time you pass your driving that test, the first time your company breaks even, they're all like things you have to celebrate.
So after that, then after my R8, I had a Wraith, my first Rolls Royce.
Nice.
That was
Nice.
amazing.
Sick.
And then after my Wraith, I had a Ferrari 488.
Sick.
And then I had to sell my Ferrari 488 for work. So, to give, sometimes everyone thinks that all these things go nice and they go up and up. But actually, December 21? December 21, I think it was. Yeah, December 21, like, basically, as a financial services company, you have to hit solvency requirements, which means that you need to have so much more money and on your balance sheet and stuff like that. And because we're an organic company, we can't just go to investors and say, can we have more money? We've got to do it ourselves. And so they'd raised the requirements. So I was like, shit, I need to put money in. So as a result then, like literally I sold my watches and sold my Ferrari and then went to an old Range Rover Vogue, which I've still got, the L322 one.
Yeah, sick, yeah.
So did that and then turned work around. A couple months later, then bought a 488 Spider, which was amazing until it blew up 3 days later.
What colour were your Ferraris?
So
The
my
488s?
Ferraris were red. So
Nice.
My first 488 was red, Rosso Corsa, yellow brakes, comfort seats, because I'm a big guy. And then, I bought a Spider. The Spider lasted, I bought it online, like literally it was still during COVID, so I called it Ferrari, I think it was Grey Pool in Edinburgh, I think it was. Yeah, basically called them up and seen this thing online, can I have it? Yes, delivered it to me. They delivered it to me, so I had it in time for my wedding, because I got married in 22, last year. So I got married last year. And then what happened is then it broke. So 3 days. So 3 days later, the next day the engine management light come on. I called them up. Was like, "What's going on?" Like I thought before I approved, I thought it'd be all good. And they were like, "No, it's fine. It's just hasn't been used in a while." I was like, "Can I use it at my wedding?" They were like, "Yeah, you can use it for your wedding, but then we'll pick it up and then we'll come and look at it." So I made sure of that because I thought I am not getting told that like I'm invalidating any warranty.
You're from insurance world too, so you know too well.
I know you guys will. So then, used it for my wedding, and then the next day I went to my honeymoon, it went bang, really badly. So apparently, it's a great story for this as well. Have we got time? Or?
Yeah, we've got like 10 minutes.
No, fine. So, great story for this one. So what happened is my Ferrari went bang, and Ferrari got involved, and it went off to Dick Lovett in Swindon, where I bought my first one from. And they were calling me, and they were like, oh, okay, this was going on with the car. And then Ferrari Northern Europe got involved. So Ferrari Northern Europe got involved because I think someone had told them that I'd been, like, I was quite a well-known entrepreneur and stuff like that. And then they found online, there's all pictures of me in the Sunday Times Richest List leaning on a Ferrari. So I had a call from Maranello in Italy. And it was this Italian guy. He was like, "We are so sorry. It's not the Ferrari quality. They are sorting this out for you now. I promise you this." So what they've done is then they said, okay, they're going to do this special thing. They're going to tear the car apart. You're going to give me a brand new Roma. So I had a brand new Ferrari Roma delivered on my driveway. They're going to tear my car apart, and then they're going to fix my car. And I remember the quote, "It'd be the best Ferrari ever." That sounds good. I'm going to love that. Thank you very much, Ferrari. That's wicked. And then I had this Roma, and then week went past, another week, another month, just kept going on. I was living in this Roma. It was wicked. I was loving it. But then Ferrari needed the Roma back. So I was like, okay, fine, get the Roma back. What's happening with my car? And they were like, oh, yeah, and it's still going on. But what had happened is, I got to the bottom of it eventually, is that basically Ferrari had given instructions, I think, to Dick Lovett to tear it all apart. So they took it all apart, and it was all on these like sort of racks and all that sort of stuff. And then Ferrari didn't have any parts.
Oh, really?
So they torn it all apart, and I don't know if it was a thing from COVID, but then they couldn't get any parts back. So all of a sudden, it was this like 200 grand jigsaw puzzle. It was sitting in Swindon. And then, what happened?
Did you go down and see it while it was in pieces?
No. It was all. I don't know how much I can see or can't see. I'll just tell it as it is. I think it was all covered up. I don't not like a bad operation, but I think what had happened, they wanted to understand fully why it's happened, so they make sure that everything's protected so they can look into it.
Yeah.
Usually because they want to make sure there's no other cars out there that could have this exposure. So I didn't get to go see it. But then, what happened is that happened, and then they took the Roma, and I kept getting told next week. So I just said, stuff, I want a full refund. So I called up Ferrari. I said, right, I want a full refund now. And they were like, no, you don't have to do that. You've got to give us a chance to fix it. I was like, no. Distance selling regulation. You got 14 days. It went wrong the first 14 days. You've got to fix it. And he said, no. We got a chance to fix it. I said, no, only if I pick it up from the showroom. Because you've delivered it to me, it's an online order. It's treated the same as like an Amazon product.
Really?
No way.
Yeah. So it's treated like an Amazon product. So there you go, consumer rights. Give me my money back. Gave my money back. Found out that me and my missus were going to have a baby. So I thought, right, I need a family car. So called up Rolls-Royce Sunningdale, thought I'm going to get a Cullinan. Said, right, I want a Cullinan. And they were like, I got a black one coming in, Mandarin piping. So then basically I called them up, and they were like, yeah, we've got this Cullinan coming back in, Part X, I think it was like 15,000 miles, something like that. It was 330, something like that. And so I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds great. So paid deposit, I'll have that. And then that turned up to stock, and they were like, yeah, we've rejected it for stock.
What, it wasn't up to quality?
Apparently it stunk of fags and with scratches all over it. And I was like, can I get another one? And they were like, you can't get them. They're impossible to get. Like, everyone who wants one is paying over the list for them. So I was like, okay. So I called Rybrook, where I bought my first Rolls Royce from, and I said to them, have you got any Cullinans? No. Any black ones? Definitely not. Rocking or shit. I was like, how long for a new one? 2 years. And he said, wait, would you buy a new one? I said, yeah. And he goes, I got a client who's desperate to get on a build slot.
Oh, nice.
So will you have the build slot? And I was like, yes, I will. So then I said, as long as I can change everything on it. So this guy, this build slot, I think it was like silver with cream, and ripped it all up. Like black, bright orange interior.
It's sick.
Orange coastline, M's on the side of it, orange brakes.
We'll chop it in. We'll put a photo of the car in here in the podcast.
Yeah, it's a sick combo, that orange interior with the black outside.
I don't know why. I thought it was stainless with like nappies and vomit. I don't know why I thought, cream's going to get fucking ruined. So
Cream's horrible for interior. I don't know why people get it.
Do you know one thing which loads of people whinge about with my car is that I haven't gone for tinted windows. So my car, apparently I didn't realise it's quite rare, because Cullinans usually on Rolls's and Bentleys, they always have the sort of like the tint in the rear.
Right, yeah.
But I've gone full. It looks like the Queen's carriage. Like literally, it's just full transparent glass.
Looks like a hearse.
I like the look. It looks kind of regal when you don't have the when you don't have it tinted, but I like having it tinted because it's more private, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't drive a car without tints. Now it feels like you're in a flipping zoo. You know, like, people viewing all around.
Yeah, I gotta go back to like fucking valleys now, from where I used to like work and stuff like that. I'm like, "Stop me, Jono!" Hey.
And plus, you got 1 in 6 people in the UK recognize you too. Well, maybe not anymore, but yeah.
Well, I got a beard about 20. I got a beard and another like 10 stone on top, probably. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Going back to the Rolls Royce factory, I remember reading the Rolls Royce takes, what is it, like 300 days to make or something? And the Toyota takes like 4 days.
Yeah, but that's like if you stack up every single hour, because usually like you might have 10 people working on a car at the same time in an hour. So yeah, there's always. I remember that meme when I'd seen. I don't want quite a meme, but like
I know the motivational quote.
Yeah, it's something like like next time you're worried, you're worried about where you are. Don't worry about success timelines. Don't forget, it takes 6 minutes to build a Hyundai. It takes a year for the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, that's the one.
Very good quote though, but.
That's where I got the quote, the info from.
Okay.
Need to fact check it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's been good.
Not sure it's 10 minutes, but yeah.
I think it's what 300 days consolidated if one person was working on it. Do you reckon? Is that what it is?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like
they're just a piece of art, aren't they? Those cars.
they are, and I think for me, the thing is for me, right, and I do stand by this. I think that like whenever someone has one of the biggest things I always stand by is that whenever someone has success and things like that. It's not the whole pay it down, but you always got to give courtesy. Like, I remember when I was younger, I always used to love cars. And if you see someone with a nice car, you'd want to go talk to them, but sometimes it'd be an arsehole. Like, there's nothing nicer than meeting someone. And I get it all the time. Someone will stop me and they go, "That's amazing, that is." Because, like, a Cullinan, for example, in Wales, I think there's only 3, mine being one of them. I know the other 2, but there's just not that many of them. When people see them, they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I think you probably get it with your Lambo.
Yeah.
But you just got to be nice to people and just, have a look. Go and enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I let people get in the car and sit in it and stuff.
Yeah.
We went to the car boot on Sunday and we had like 20 or 30 people probably got in the car, didn't we?
More than that. It's exhausting though, saying thank you.
Apprentice, and like that is the most apprentice challenge ever. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wait till the full episode comes out. It's gonna be
So I
sick,
got a
right?
question for you, yeah? I think James would probably agree too. Whenever I used to watch The Apprentice and there was a challenge, I used to think, these guys are doing it awful. Is it because they're nervous or most of them just aren't good?
No, honestly, right?
I'm normally screaming at the TV like, what are you doing? Where did you get the idea from?
It's a high pressure situation, but like, let me tell you something about how they do the editing. The way they do the editing is that, so let's say, for example, imagine a computer like desktop, you've got like 16 files for every single candidate.
Yeah.
And what they do with the footage is they watch back the footage from the episode and they save it into clips like Alex funny, Alex stupid, Alex smart, Alex this. They do that for everything.
Take notes, Joe. Take notes.
That's good.
I'm
Yeah,
just taking notes now.
Do
What
it.
they do is they see what people think on Twitter. So, like, if you are an arrogant tosser on it, then they just put in more clips of you looking like an arrogant tosser because they know that, like, people on Twitter are like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, yeah, no, yeah, boo, boo, hiss, boo," and they know it just gets moves with loads of viewers.
Yeah.
People like me on it. Like, people really like me, and I think then, like, for me, I got like great TV advertising.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Sick,
seriously,
man.
do you know what? I only ever had 2 people before come up to me and give me shit about it. Everyone else has been so polite and nice and like, it's nice to meet you and what's this and what's that. But I've only had 2 people give me shit about it.
And what was the insults?
One of them was this guy came to me on match day. He was like, what he said? Oh, I can't remember what he said. He said something along the lines of like, "Oh, but you couldn't sell 8 to a rabbit." And I said, "Rabbit, have no fucking money, you dozy twat."
That's funny.
People got too much to say. You should see the comment section on our YouTube. It's ridiculous. What was that stupid one the other day? Oh, yeah, so we were given an idea. There was a girl in here and she started a business with 30 quid and she turned it to 50 grand, right? Just selling sweets. And we were like, no one's got an excuse. She started a business with 30 quid. And the comment said, "You guys are from a different background. You're so entitled. Not everyone has 30 quid. That's like 3 hours wages." And we're like, what are you talking about? 3 hours? Well, you can't work extra 3 hours.
Get a job.
Yeah, and he commented back, "You guys are giving advice you'd never do." Like, hold on, we've worked before. You know, like for extra hours. I've done whatever. Like, you've been a security guard after being on national TV.
That's actually why I went to the car boot, innit? To prove to them.
Yeah, that's how the challenge started.
If you're thinking of making a comment like this, I suggest you save those keystrokes to go to Indeed or Read or someone else and go and apply for a fucking job and don't bother giving me shit because I don't need to listen.
Yes, brother. Hey, it's been a good podcast, man.
It's been a sick EP, man.
Yeah, no,
Sick.
really enjoyed it.
Can we just do one more thing? What was that story at the start you were telling us about the kids' food? Because we cut you, didn't we?
Apprentice.
And I want to hear the end of it.
Okay, fine, yeah. So what? Yeah, we talk about the actual how I got fired on The Apprentice, and it was on a task whereby we had to basically design a microwavable meal. And so we had like a kids category. And so what happened is I was project manager, and I wanted to do a kids meal, which was called, basically, it was around a character, a guy called Popty. And that's because Popty Ping is Welsh for microwave. Yeah, get this for Welsh.
Never knew that.
Yeah, get this for Welsh language. Okay, so Popty's oven and ping is the sound it makes. So that's why Popty Ping is microwave. But anyway.
So it's not slang, that is actually
No,
Welsh.
that's Welsh, that's actual Welsh.
Popty being bad.
Like,
Crazy.
It's like jellyfish is wibbly wobbly. Or the Puscod wobbly. No, Puscod wobbly.
What, lingually? It actually is that?
Yeah,
I'm not sure I even believe you.
Well, it is, so you can Google it, whatever. But basically, in Welsh, it's an old language, so we have to sort of, when new words come out, because we have to sort of like mix two other words together to make it.
Right.
So, for example, there's not many jellyfish in Wales, and then when they found one, it's Puscod wobbly or whatever, which is wobbly fish. But yeah, Popty Ping, that was the whole thing. So the whole idea then was that we make this character called Popty, and with Popty then, it would be about different foods from around the world. And it was the whole thing about getting kids to eat new food. So, like, for example, like one of them, we could do a paella and introduce the kids to prawns. We could do another one, which could be like, I don't know, like an Arabica, and it introduces kids to pasta or something. But the whole idea of it was trying to get kids to eat more variety of foods by putting it in nice, shiny packaging. And then what happened is this guy who was on the team, a guy called Miles, lives in Monaco, nice guy, but Miles. But what happened is Miles was like, no, that's a bad idea. I've got kids. Kids love horror food. We should do like a Deadly Dinners theme. And I was like, no, my idea is better. We're doing my idea. Get on side. We're doing my idea. And then it was a slip of confidence. It was literally at one point I thought, Al, you need to grow up. You need to be more mature. You need to listen to the adult who's got kids because you might be wrong. So I was like, fine, I'm going to listen to Miles. We were fucking wrong. And no one liked Deadly Dinners. Everyone liked Popty Ping. And we put Deadly Dinners, and that's why Sugar sacked me, is because I didn't stand for my own convictions.
Well, it's a very harsh lesson learned then, eh?
Not really. I like Sugar. He's a nice guy. I bumped into him at Sunday Times Richest party or whatever. But I think when he goes, I'd really like the opportunity to take on board to actually do the program because I like to do it a different way. And no hard feelings. It's just the way the world goes round, isn't it, type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And we already said this before, is every L, they come back with bigger wins, don't they? Like, everything happens for a reason.
There's a good lesson for everyone, right, which is that when everyone wants to get up in business, right, we all think that sometimes you just get a stupid idea where people think, it's like you cut people off and you do this and do that. But actually, remember, whoever you kick on the way up is waiting to kick you on the way back down. So, like, never discredit, never do anything wrong with someone on the way up. Just be nice, calm, easy, polite, and you won't get into shit later on.
Great advice.
Nice one.
Nice one, brother.
Oh, cool. Let's do the fist bumps again.
Yeah,
Part two.
See you guys soon, all right? Take care.